Click the link in the description for your free Amsoil catalog. Before we get started, I'd like to give a quick shout out to some of our friends. The Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame. Search for them on Facebook. Central Minnesota Pond Racing, some of the best vintage snowmobile racing in the Midwest. Crane's Snowmobile Museum, 172 Main Street in Lancaster, New Hampshire. The Vintage Snowmobile Club of America Quarterly Magazine. The New Hampshire Snowmobile Museum at Bear Brook State Park in Allenstown, New Hampshire. The Benedim YouTube channel, some of the best vintage snowmobile videos on YouTube. Ben's Vintage Mini Bike Podcast, the second Sunday of every month at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. The Muscle Car Show and Tell Podcast, every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Second Chance Upholstery and Automotive, custom snowmobile and automotive upholstery in Derby, Vermont. I am your independent Amsoil dealer. Click the link in the description for your free Amsoil catalog. Lastly, if you decide to advertise with the Vintage Snowmobile Podcast, this could be part of your advertising message. Well, good evening and welcome to the podcast. I'm really glad you're here. Now, I have a robust lineup of vintage snowmobile entertainment on tap for you tonight. But before we get into all of that, I want to make sure that everything is working properly. So if you can see my face and hear my voice, I'm going to ask you to leave a comment. Please let me know where you're viewing this from and whether you are a first-time viewer or a regular viewer. Now, to our first-time viewers, if this is your first time viewing the podcast, I hope you have a good time with us tonight, and I hope you decide to join us here each and every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, this podcast simulcasts to 8 different places across Facebook and YouTube. So wherever you're viewing this right now, just circle back in 1 week's time, and we'll be waiting for you with another fun-filled episode. Now, to our regular viewers who are here week after week, month after month, and season after season, you are the ones who make this possible, and we really, really appreciate that. So let's take a look here at a few quick comments, and then we'll bring our friends on, and we will get this party started. Let's see, our good friend Armand Buto is here from Pittsburg, New Hampshire. He says he's looking forward to another great podcast, and we're intending to deliver that to you. Also, Charles Leone says, welcome back, Charlie, from Minnesota. Great to see you, Charlie. Glad you're here. John Spranger Jr., our good friend from the very beginning of doing these podcasts. He's here from Elin, Wisconsin. Nice to see you, John. Dave Trim is here from Carthage, New York. Thank you for being with us, Dave. Appreciate that. Charles says, check my audio. Okay, good to know, because it is different tonight. I don't have it in the headphones. I have it on a speaker nearby, which is a little odd. With my someone please make a note. Let me know whether or not you can hear my voice. Okay, Rob's giving me a thumbs up, so he can hear me. Okay, so at least we've got audio, but I'm glad you're mentioning that. Mike Whiteside says, good evening, everyone. Let's get this party started, and started we will. Jim Holbrook is here, Thetford Center, Vermont, regular viewer, says loud and clear. Good to hear that. August Freeman from Cairo, New York. Thank you for being here. Nice to see you. Our good friend John T. Senna is here saying good evening, live from North Branch, Minnesota, Speedway and the Blue Ferrari snowmobiles. That is his passion. Midnight Rider is here. Greetings from Northwest Minnesota. Great to be back. Great to have you. Charles says the echo is bad. Thank you for letting me know about that. There's a way I can check on that, and I will do so here in just a moment. One last comment here. Stacy and Art Fosler, regular viewers from the very beginning from Plattkill, New York. Nice to see you. Thank you for being on. Without further ado, we will bring our friends on, and we will, as promised, get this party started. Gentlemen, how are we doing tonight?
I'm doing good tonight, Mike.
How are you doing?
Good. Oh, I do hear that echo now, and I will investigate that in just a moment. But our guest tonight, our special guest, is Mike Kohn. He has recently acquired the Vintage Snowmobile Club of America Quarterly Magazine, and he's here tonight to tell us all about that. And let me set up this shot here. And while he's talking about that, I'm going to investigate this audio issue. Mike, please give us the quick detail here on your magazine.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Well, let's see. I recently acquired Vintage Snowmobile Magazine and the Vintage Snowmobile Club of America. from Mike Kohn. Mike has done a tremendous job with this publication and organization for over 20 years. And I think it maybe just he was ready to move on, or, that's a long time to do the same thing. I have a long history with the publication and the organization. And maybe I'll just start at the beginning. The Vintage Snowmobile Club of America was founded in 1987 by Gary Webster. He's a former Mercury racer, and he saw a need for preservation and celebration of machines that were newer than what at the time were considered antiques, what we now call vintage snowmobiles. He started it right at his kitchen table and started a newsletter that came out quarterly. In 1994, I became editor of that publication as Gary decided to split the roles of running the club and doing the newsletter. One other gentleman preceded me for about a year, and then the reins were passed on to me. I was the editor of the newsletter from 1994 to 1999, and brought it from your typical newsletter to more like a magazine over a period of time. And somewhere along the line, the club just grew so fast. It grew 1,000% from 94 to 99 in size. And I got a little burned out, and I had a lot going on in my life then. I was much younger, had a lot more responsibilities, and I just walked away from it in 2000 and didn't look back. I sold all my vintage sleds to Ed Webb, who ran Coronas and Snow Stuff. And he sent two fellas over with a big check and a semi and hauled them all away, and that was it for a long time. And then I rode my new sleds and, still kept snowmobiling, but I really didn't pay any attention to the vintage world at all. Then about 5 years ago, I got an itch to get a Mercury lead sled again, which is what I drove when I was a kid. Those big, enormous twin headlight, heavy things. I love them. And I got another one. And from there, it just kind of went back downhill again. And I rejoined the VSCA. And then I thought, hey, I like to write. So I asked Mike Kohn, I said, hey, would you mind if I submitted some articles? And he said, sure. That'd be great. So I started sending a few articles in, and then that led to me getting my regular column 20-1 back into the magazine. And then Mike was advertising for someone to do layout because his layout person was going to leave for other opportunities. And I said, heck, I can do that. So I became editor in 2023 and layout person. And that led to a conversation fairly recently, about 6 months ago, when Mike and I started planning for the turnover of the magazine. And that occurred on September 18th of this year is when I took over. So just a little more than a month ago. And it's been going real well. Our December issue will go to press on Monday. It's all ready to go. We got some great articles in there. The feature on that is on the Rupp dragster, the super snow sport dragster that kind of fell off the face of the earth for a long time. And Bobby Dodge tracked it down and submitted a great article on that. And then the usual things that we always have in the magazine, like coverage of shows in the West, Central, Midwest and Eastern parts of the country and Canada, whatever, we try to cover as much show information as we can. We have our calendar of events where we list everything that's going on that we know of as far as vintage and antique shows and swap meets. We have this site here, Vintage Snowmobile Events on Facebook, which I started about 3 years ago to try to have a central place where people could go and see what's happening in their area on a particular weekend. And now this Facebook page drives our events calendar on our website. So as they're updated on Facebook, they get ported over to our calendar events on the website as well. And that also is what we use to populate our events section in the magazine. We also have we're going to have more and more tech tips, probably more than in the past, because I think there's a need for that. There's a lot of things that I guess are becoming a lost art because we're so far removed from that old technology now that less and less people actually know how to rebuild a Tillotson or deal with a Salisbury clutch or, that sort of thing. So we're going to move more in that direction too. Also, I plan on being more inclusive to what I guess people call classic snowmobiles. Really, I don't care what people call them. I like them all, whether they're, antiques or stuff from the 60s or older, all the way up to, new ones and everything in between. But I think, this hobby is so nostalgia based that I think we have to embrace younger people and what they remember, because, what got me in this is what I remembered as a kid, and probably is the same for anyone listening to this. You probably got hooked on vintage snowmobiles because there was a machine that you liked when you were younger. And so tapping into that nostalgia, I think, is very important. And we have to keep moving along with the times, too, and be inclusive of 80s and 90s machines. And they have their interesting stories to tell also. So I want to make sure that those stories are told. Let's see, what else can I tell you? We're doing a subscription drive from now till the end of the year. We have not raised our subscription rates in probably 2 decades. And of course, everything keeps going up. Cost of everything, mailing, printing, and all of that. But in the meantime, you can get ahead of the curve and subscribe to Vintage Snowmobile Magazine and pay the current rate of $22.50 a year in the US or $30 in Canada, $50 international. And between now and the end of the year, you're automatically going to be entered into a drawing for one of 3 hoodies, Vintage Snowmobile Magazine hoodies. And we'll be giving those away. The drawing will be on December 31st. And 3 lucky winners will get one of those in their size. So that's kind of a little extra incentive to get out there and subscribe before the rates go up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's so far we've had a nice brisk response to it, and I hope that continues, especially now that we're getting closer into the snow season. A lot of shows coming up, a ton of them in December, a lot more than I recall from previous years. So I think it's getting to be a more and more of a popular thing to do. And another thing I'm noticing is, it's kind of a unique perspective in that I was out of it for 20 years and then coming back again. I mean, the hobby is so much bigger now than it was back in the 90s. And not only are the shows, are there more people collecting, but the shows have a much larger response from spectators than they did back then. There's a lot of people that come to the shows that, aren't collectors. They just came, or they come to look at the machines, and that's, awesome. They're becoming, very popular attraction, like car shows are, really. Yeah. So it's really a neat thing to be part of.
Yeah, I find that too. Northern Vermont and New Hampshire, at least, there's more and more vintage shows, and they're better and better attended every year. We're definitely on a positive curve with that.
Yeah, and Mike hit up on maybe bringing in some of the 90 vintage sleds. Well, let's face it, guys, that's 30 years old. Well,
yeah, it's true.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about that.
Really vintage. It's crazy to think of it that way, but I mean, you look back at the 90s, gee, was it 30 years ago?
Unreal.
And Mike, you talked about how people don't know how to fix them. When I was a kid, my dad had 1969 Skidoos and all that. He took the seat off and put a box underneath because you needed that many tools. Go for a ride for a day.
Yeah.
And what my dad used to do for a ride on a Saturday, me and my buddies do that in less than an hour now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
That's
mean, I
cool.
remember my parents riding when I was small, and eventually, about 74 or so, we moved to our what was our cottage. We moved there full time, and for some reason, that seemed to trigger them not riding anymore. So the snowmobiles kind of fell into my lap, and you know, when they'd break down, I'd say, Dad, the Merc broke down or the Skidoo broke down. He'd be like, well, you better learn how to fix it. So
Yeah.
that's how I got into it.
Yeah. And I don't know about your vintage snowmobile events down there, but the ones up here, they all have like a run. So you show in the morning and it's a run. So you take off 8 o'clock, and for $20, that gives you your insurance and your trail pass for the day. So all the vintage people go for a run through the woods, come back, maybe 20 miles, and not that far. And then they have a show inside and then a barbecue. So where else can you take your machine out for a ride? Like no one's going up here. It's $200 for a trail permit. You're not going to buy a trail permit, take your vintage out, but at these events, they make it available.
In New Hampshire, the state allows all vintage sleds to join in a vintage ride without being registered for that day.
That's great.
You can ride in a vintage ride-in.
That's a great idea.
And not have to be registered. So
in Wisconsin, we're lucky because we have a great program with the DNR that they instituted a few years back, in that you can register a snowmobile that's 30 years old or older for $20 the first time, and then $5 renewal, and the period lasts for 3 years. And if you're riding one of those and you have the antique, what they call an antique pass, you don't have to buy a trail pass either. So, you know, if you're going to go out and ride a 1972 whatever, you're probably not going to put 150 miles on it or something like you would a modern sled, and they recognize that, which is nice, you know, and that really is the case. I mean, I take my Merc out for, I rarely take mine out for more than, you know, about 10-mile romp because I don't want to walk any further.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh no, yeah. I get in on the ground floor with mine. It was $50 forever. They sent me a tin plate, which I have on my machine. They have since taken that away. I think you have to buy it every year now. But when I got mine, I think it was you paid $50 and it was good forever. So I'm kind of grandfathered into that. So I kind of lucked out. But
yeah.
But anyways, I guess to kind of summarize, I'm really thrilled to be taking over the magazine, or taking back the magazine. I guess
we're thrilled you are.
And I'm, you know, again, we're running the subscription drive between now and the end of the year. You could win one of 3 hoodies and get in at the low price of $22.50 in the U.S. one more time before the rates go up in January. So it's a great publication. I'm really proud to be part of it. And again, Mike Maher did a wonderful job for the past 20 years, and my hope is to continue that tradition and maybe even carry it to the next level. I hope, because I think this is a great hobby, and it seems to be growing very quickly.
Yes.
Yeah. And since you brought up Mike Mahar's name, I wanted to also give a good shout out to him, because he's a good friend of the podcast, a good personal friend, and we want to wish him well on whatever the future holds for him.
Absolutely.
For sure. And we're going to do one more shameless plug with this graphic here. He's doing a subscription drive, and if you subscribe here, I think before the end of December, I think it was, you
That's correct.
Registered to win one of 3 hoodies that they'll be giving away. And then I'll put that banner up one more time, that graphic up. And then also Mike sent me a couple of graphics of some of the older magazines. This is from the early days.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, the one on the left is the very first issue I did as editor in 1994. The one on the right, that front picture there, is the very first show at Waconia in 1995.
Wow.
That's cool.
That is cool.
And then we've got this too. These are some earlier issues, it looks like.
Kind of shows how I've how it progressed while I was working on it. How we changed the logo and the cover, and it got more and more like a magazine until finally we were in color.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, that's very nice.
And I got to say too, this magazine comes on heavy, thick, high quality paper stock. So it's like a nice, heavy, glossy magazine. It's top quality, and it's considered the reference for this hobby, the vintage snowmobile hobby. And while we were talking, we had a whole lot of comments coming in, and we've still got some coming in. I've been popping them on the screen here. Danny Carruthers is saying hello. Nice to see you. Kathleen Combs and Barry Haney from Bridgewater, Mass. Very cool. Well, let's switch screens here. Mike, if you'll stay with us for the podcast, we're going to switch gears and look at some video clips after we do AMSOIL, but we'd love it if you could view video clips and react to them with us.
Sounds great.
Good deal. Good deal. So, Rob, if you are ready, we're going to put you full screen, and Rob is going to talk to us about AMSOIL.
Can I just stay half screen? Okay, we talked a number of times about our Interceptor oil, our Dominator oil, the 100-to-1, doesn't matter if it's a 50, 32, or whatever it is. AMSOIL runs 100-to-1. Last week, we talked about the importance before you get your machine out, about putting quick shot in it. Helps dissolve the ethanol and all that. And hopefully, before you put it away, you use the stabilizer. Because gas nowadays isn't as good as it is. It's not good at all. So the main product we're going to talk to about chain case oil. Everybody says chain case oil is the same. No, they're all different. I've seen people before lift the back end of the machine up and start revving it because their rubber track is frozen in the snow. Rubber track doesn't freeze in snow. Does your car tires freeze in snow? It doesn't. It's the oil in the chain case. After 10 below zero, it turns to honey. This stuff pours at 50 below zero. So it doesn't matter if it's 30, 40, or 50 below. This stuff still pours out of the bottle, so when you start your engine and your clutch starts opening up, your track's going to start turning. If the oil in there is thick like honey, it's going to start wearing your belt until it warms up. And the only way it warms up is parts rubbing together, builds up friction, which is wear and tear. So by having your chain case last longer, put a synthetic oil in it. One of these bottles does a chain case, and I think it's about $15. Now, Mike has a thing on there where you can sign up as a preferred customer, or you can get a catalog, tell you all about the products, or you can sign up as a preferred customer, save 25% on everything. Like if you buy the gallon container, 4 of them in a box, you save $50. So for $10, you can become a preferred customer, get the best possible price, and have it all shipped right to your door. So if you want to know more about it, click on the Mike's site.
Yes, link in the description. And in the interest of full disclosure, I'm signed up as an AMSOIL dealer under Rob. So when you order using my link and or my referral number, Rob and I both make a commission, and the commissions are how we pay the bills here at the podcast. So we thank all of the people who've been ordering AMSOIL from us, and we thank anyone who's considering doing that. We really
and hopefully soon Mitch will join our club with the AMSOIL shirt on.
Yes, absolutely.
Right, yeah.
That is a great shirt, isn't it, Mike? That's high quality.
I run Dominator.
That is a high quality shirt, isn't it?
Yeah,
that is a nice shirt.
Yeah, thanks to Rob. Yeah, Mike and I both got one.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, Rob sent us a couple of those, and we did a unboxing at Midge's house, and
we did it right at
fun with that.
Yeah, it was pretty
I'd like to
cool.
play that clip sometime on a future episode.
We should. Yeah,
we like to treat our customers good.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Oh, and we've got some comments coming in here. I wanted to look at these before we move on. Stacy and Art Fosler are saying, "Hey, Midge, got my 78 TX 440 fired up and ready for the season."
Awesome.
Excellent. That is cool. And I guess there's a duplicate there. Then we've got Bob Barlone, or Bob Barloni, possibly, if that's Italian, saying hello from Phoenix, Arizona. And I had a question about that. I lived out in that area for about 8 years, and I was curious where you are in the Phoenix area. I was in Chandler, so I was curious where you are out there in the Phoenix area. And thank you so much for doing.
I was in Scottsdale, Arizona, and we drove 4 hours, and it was 90 at Scottsdale, Arizona. We drove 4 hours, and we had snow.
Flagstaff must
and
be.
They shut I didn't know they shut the Grand Canyon down in the wintertime. It's not safe to go up there. So much snow.
Yeah, especially in the North Ridge.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
crazy.
Wow.
Well, cool. So let's shift gears here, and we're on item number 3. Now, a good friend to myself and possibly Midge. I think Midge must know Doug Cower from some of the Northern Vermont and New Hampshire shows. Well, he made a video clip for us at a recent snowmobile show, and he's going to show us some of his Kawasaki's. Plus, he's got a new acquisition. This is a Kawasaki that was just taken out of the crate. It's never been run, never had gas in it, and it's an unbelievable find. And he's going to tell us about that as soon as I cue it up. And here we go. Let's take a look at Doug's sleds here.
Yep, my name is Doug Cower. I'm going to start with my Kawasaki collection here. My first one is the 78 440 Invader. My buddy Ted restored this. And if you want, you can look under the hood. This actually has what they call the power-up kit. So now you got two pipes, twin pipes. This 78 was the only one that had a fiberglass hood too. I'll go over to this one. Now this here, this is my new acquisition. This came from Wisconsin, the Snow Museum. Kawasaki donated this sled back in 2011 to them. I was out there last year, picked it, I gave them, say, hey, you sell it, here's my name, number, call me up. All original, never touched. This one here, this is like my favorite sled, 1980, Kawasaki LTD 4 and 6. This also had like twin pipes, the only year they did this. Everything was black under here, cylinders, clutching, dual pipes. They laid down this radiator. It's the only difference from any other Invader. Go over to my 82. Same thing, my buddy Ted restored this one. I helped him out with this one more than the other one. And these read in kilometers instead of miles per hour. And it's electric start, so you could key on and you could crank this over. This has like 4,300 kilometers, so it's probably like a hair over 2,000 original miles. Came from my buddy out in Michigan. Ted bought it for like about $1,500. He's probably got over 7-8 grand in this, and he gave me a good price for it. So this is basically my collection now.
Where's the one with 2 spark plugs?
Yep.
Okay. Very nice, Doug.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So yes, thank you so much to our good friend Doug Cower for this footage. We really appreciate that. And we encourage our viewers to please take footage either of your sleds at home or at shows, or if you're walking around at a vintage snowmobile show, please take some footage for us or images, and we'd love to share that on the podcast here for everyone to enjoy, because our goal with this podcast is to kind of be a mirror held up to this hobby, and we can all see what people are doing all over the US and Canada at snowmobile shows, races, events, things like that. But yeah, reactions to that, Mike. What were your thoughts looking at this?
Some really nice Kawasaki's. The red or maroon one, I've only seen one other one of those. A gentleman in Wisconsin has one. They have to be pretty rare.
Nice.
Yeah,
Right.
I think Kawasaki, they were some of the best styling sleds going back then. They had the style.
I would
boy.
agree with that. I would agree with that. They were fast too. They were
Yeah, they were
built,
fast. Yeah.
Yep.
And remember the tournament of champions that they had with like a dozen of the same Kawasaki, and they would have the top snowmobile racers compete against
Bobby Donahue and
and they would compete against one another on the exact same type Kawasaki's, the same engine and everything set up the same. It was like what's that one that they did with the Camaros there?
the IROC series.
IROC series, very similar to the IROC series. And
You know why they can't? You know why they canned the Kawasaki series? Most of the
Why?
guys driving them didn't know how to drive, and they kept smashing them all up.
Yeah. Oh, gee.
But it was a fun series. They did it at Belcourt, Quebec. They did it at Eagle River. They did it at all the big tracks.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it
Nice.
was, and our own Claude Hebert, who's in the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame now, was the guy that head that whole thing up.
Yes.
Came
Nice.
from Colbert, New Hampshire.
Nice.
In fact, we had him on the podcast last winter he told the whole backstory on that, as
Yeah.
well as his adventures and misadventures at Motoski and
Yeah.
Kawasaki. And yeah, I think at one
Yeah.
point he was the marketing director for Kawasaki.
Yeah. 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 He was up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he still lives in Michigan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I got an email from him just the other day. He's in California right now.
Oh, is he? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think to live. I think he must be on vacation.
Yeah. Yeah.
But let me look at a few comments here before we move on. Just trying to find my place here. Oh, okay, here we go. Our good friend Eric at the Benedim YouTube channel, which this podcast, it's one of the places this podcast is simulcast to. He's in the house tonight saying top-notch collection for sure. Appreciate that. Also, our good friend Rich Shad saying good evening. Nice to see you. Mike Whiteside says Kawasaki's baby. Beautiful collection.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Very cool. And then Charles Leanne says something about a charity auction of his 1970 Nordic, bought it new in '69, sponsored by Nutter's Speed Shop, to be auctioned off at the annual ride-in at the end of January, and a 2001 Polaris 550 is to be raffled off as well. Charles, if you send me information on that, be happy to promote that on an upcoming podcast. Be happy to help you get the word out on that.
Yeah.
And thank you for telling us about that. Also, Dave Lowry, a good friend, saying 2 spark plugs per cylinder. Yes, that LTD, that gray one, has 2 plugs per cylinder. Let me see if I can get in close on that because it did show it. Oh, wait, I'm going the wrong direction here. Okay, yes, I think that's the
Yeah.
LTD. Yes, that's the one with the 2 plugs per cylinder. And it's liquid cooled. And I've seen that at many shows in northern Vermont and New Hampshire. Yeah, all of those are spectacular sleds.
He had those at
and-
Cranes, I think, one year.
Yes, he's had those at Cranes a few times. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then our good friend Ben from Vintage Mini Bike Lovers, he does a vintage mini bike podcast that we collaborate on these channels. He's saying, I've had occasion to see some of Doug's collection in person, and it's top notch. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And our good friend Armin Buto from Pittsburg, New Hampshire, says he had one of the Tournament of Champions sleds, I believe.
Wow.
Very cool. Cool. So let me pull this away. And we're going to move on. Let me get where I need to be here. Okay, so next item is, okay, we're going to look at some footage from the Goffstown Snowmobile Show in previous years. And the thing we have to say about the Goffstown Snowmobile Show is it's happening this Saturday in Goffstown, New Hampshire on the 25th of the month. So if you're in central New Hampshire, this is not far from Concord and Manchester. This is definitely a show worth checking out. And at the end of this clip, it's only about a minute and a half long. There's something else we're going to talk about as well. And I'll wait till we get to it to bring it up. But let's take a look. This is from our good friend, Bud Gordon. And it's taken a moment for the video clip to load, which happens sometimes. But yes, Bud Gordon is a good friend of mine, a good friend of all of ours, actually. He's one of the most active promoters of events in the Northeast. And he's also associated with New Hampshire Snowmobile Museum, which we'll be talking about in a moment. Here we go. Okay, so we're ending on this note. Before we go into this, though, I just encourage people, if you're in central New Hampshire, please visit the Goffstown Snowmobile Show this coming Saturday. And more importantly, though, the New Hampshire Snowmobile Museum. This is a fundraising drive to help save the New Hampshire Snowmobile Museum. They've got, I think, close to 100 snowmobiles in the museum. It's in a building at Bear Brook State Park, and apparently that building is compromised, and they need to have everything out of there before snow falls. So there's some pressure here, and I know this podcast is doing everything it can to help with this cause, and I know Mike Kohn with the Vintage Snowmobile magazine is doing the same. And also we're going to have Bud Gordon on here next week. We're going to spend the entire episode talking about the museum and this cause. So please donate generously. I'm going to have contact information here. Will come up just a second. There it is. So yeah, while we've got this contact information on the screen, Mike, is there anything you'd like to add to this? Because I know you're as active as I am in trying to help promote this cause.
Yeah, I'm in this upcoming issue of the magazine. There's coverage of a swap meet they recently held within the last few weeks as part of their fundraising too. And I have a full page ad in the December issue on, how to donate. They also have, I forgot what those things, QR code. I think that's what you call that little square thing with all the squiggly. Yeah. And there's one on there where you can, use that to donate as well. So they're working very hard to find a new location for the museum. The old building was built during the Depression by the CCC. And, at the age that it is now, I think it's rotting timbers and things like that. It's just been condemned. So I guess it's too far gone to repair. So that's the plight that they're in. So if you can help them out, $5, $500, whatever you can afford. It's for a good cause. And, museums like this preserve the history of this sport that we all love.
Yes, absolutely. And this museum these are friends of all of ours. Midge and I are good friends with Bud Gordon as well as the rest of the people at the museum. And they've been on the podcast many times, and we want it's about supporting snowmobiling, but it's also about supporting friends. And please, whatever you can donate, whether large or small, the donation is greatly appreciated, and it's going to a wonderful cause. And Midge and Rob, anything you wanted to add to this, or?
Well, it's they have some of the they have the oldest skidoo that came to America at this museum. The original skidoo that came into the United States is in that museum. Plus, they have a Lombard log hauler, and they got some really nice sleds there, and they have to have a place to put those things. They got to get it out of that dilapidated barn they're in. So any donation, like it says, whether it's $5, $500, $5,000, probably a lot of people won't come up with the $5,000, but any amount would help.
Yes, if anyone wins the lottery in the near future, please donate generously to this.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, sure.
For sure. And Rob, anything to add to this?
There's not a lot of museums around, so the ones they are, we got to keep them open.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I only know of 2 museums up here in Ontario area. Well, no, Belcourt, Quebec, and one here in Ontario, but there's not a lot around.
It's true. It's true. Well, and we've got a couple of comments that have come in. Let's I'm trying to find my place here. Oh, yes. Okay. So Charles Land says, any questions, send to Charlie Treemaster. So look for Charlie Treemaster on a Google search or on Facebook. And Benedim, Eric at the Benedim YouTube channel says that display of the ski-doos with the fake snow was pretty neat. Yes, it was. In fact, let's go back and take a look at that. That was a cool look. He had some fake snow right there in that trailer.
Yeah.
It's nice when the people go the extra mile on their displays.
Yes. And then here's the graphic for the Goffstown show that's happening this Saturday. Try to make that if you can. And Charlie's got Charlie TR Master. Okay, so that's how you find Charlie for those raffle sleds. Well, cool. Let me pull this away and get back to the main screen. And what have we got next? We're going to take a look at some sites from the Vintage Snowmobile Show last September 2024 in Pittsburg, New Hampshire. Now, this is the show that Bud Lacasse puts on, and he always does a great job with this show. And I know Midge and I had a great time over there. He asked us to judge it, and we had a good time doing that. So let's take a look. Here's some sites from that show. So yeah, good times being had at the Pittsburg, New Hampshire Vintage Snowmobile Show, September 2024. And let's see, Rob, reactions to that?
The very first Skidoo, the RV 250, right there.
Yeah.
340, that one is. Yeah, I can remember going to races, and there'd be 10 of them out the track at a time. One Arctic Cat, one Yamaha, but those things outnumbered everybody else. Skidoo was giving them away, I think.
Wow.
They look so good out there performing.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
that's one of the
sled.
sexier sleds for sure. And go ahead, Midge.
Yeah, that was Mark Belanger's sled. That actually won Best of Show out in New York the year before, and he purchased it from the guy. And I think it won Best Race Sled at Ray's show here. And it's it's a beautiful sled.
Yeah, from every angle too. For sure. Speaking of every angle, let's take a look here at some of the angles.
Yeah, I think it's flawless.
Yes. Totally gorgeous.
Our asphalt drag machine, that's the hood we bought to put on it.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if I still have that image. I don't think I had that image loaded. But yeah, Mike, reactions to this?
Well, it's a beautiful sled. I kind of like the second generation Deer there, the Liquefier. I always thought those were pretty sharp looking. I mean,
Yeah, they were.
Especially for when, what do they come out? I think it's 76. They were pretty cutting edge.
Yeah.
Nice machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
They took
And
the
then Tom
Winnipeg to
Waters
St.
has
Paul
this
away from
motor
Polaris, didn't they?
What's that?
What's that?
The Liquefier cleaned house at the Winnipeg to St. Paul. Polaris thought they were going to have it won, and John Deere went in and ended up winning this Winnipeg to St. Paul. Yeah.
Wow. Then Tom Waters has this moto ski. I think this is some kind of a custom fabrication thing he did, but it's unbelievable.
Oh, isn't that a beautiful sled?
Yes.
Oh my
Do
goodness.
they still have the Winnipeg to St. Paul race?
I don't believe it. I don't know. Mike, do they?
No idea. Do you know, Mike?
No.
Racing is probably my least knowledgeable area. I need to bone up on that. I would know.
I haven't heard of it. I haven't heard of it for years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and then Eric from the Benedim YouTube channel is talking about that cross-country cat, and I apologize, I've already pulled that away. But that's a resto mod. That's Tom Peters as well. That moto ski, he owns that as well, and I think it was. Oh, I can picture the guy, but I can't think of his name. Who did the resto mod on that?
Yeah.
Jim Murphy. Jim Murphy, because Jim Murphy's a cat guy, and he did the resto mod on that. And that's I think modern underpinnings with older cab and seat and like that. And our good friend Armin Butel from Pittsburg, New Hampshire says good spot for a show, as it was at the foot of Murphy Dam, situated right on a four-wheeler trail, and had lots of people stopping by. Absolutely, that was a great show.
Yeah.
And here we go. Dear friend of mine from the 80s says, great show tonight. I love seeing all the snowmobiles. Definitely would be cool if you come to Illinois to check out the museum in Hopedale. I would love to see that. And if you're ever out that way, please take some footage for us. We would love to see that. And thank you, Charlotte. Old and dear friend of mine. Very dear friend. Joe Zenert says, hello, Mike. Kay, logged in late. Good to see you on the podcast. Cool deal. Mike's getting some love here. Good deal.
What about me and Mitch?
I know, huh? We're all chopped liver. But no, as long as somebody's getting some love. So let's see. Speaking of getting some love, we're going to take a look at a clip from the recent induction ceremony for the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame that happened last month. And who's getting love? Mike and Sally Beattie. Now, before we roll this clip, a good friend of both of theirs, Midge Rosebrook, who incidentally is the founder of the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame. Do you want to set up this clip for us, Midge?
Yeah. I actually submitted Mike and Sally to be inducted into the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame. Sally and I both worked at the fair in the exhibition hall, and I told her that I think that they deserve to be in there. And Mike's race car, when he was racing, his number was 25. And he was one of the premier stock car racers in the area. He won a lot at Barrie, Vermont, over there in Catamount Stadium, Vermont, and Riverside Speedway in Goffstown, New Hampshire. And he won a lot of races. He was one of the top drivers back then. And his number was 25. So I told Sally I would like to see that they were inducted in 2025, and that was the reason.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a look.
Thank you, Melissa, for stepping in and doing these Hall of Fame things every year. I want to thank Paul Crane, who, without Paul, this never would have happened. And in the board, Shane actually called me about a week ago, and he asked me if I would read his plaque of his parents who's being inducted this year, and it's indeed my honor to do so. So my eyes aren't as good as they used to be, so I've got these things. You're in good company. Yeah. I told Sally a couple of years ago. She was working at the fair in the exhibition hall, and my wife and I were working there as well. I told her that my intent was to see that her and Mike would be inducted into the Hall of Fame. And I said that we're going to do it in 2025. Now, does anybody here remember when Mike Beattie was one of the premier stock car drivers of his era? in New England. Anybody remember that? His number of his stock car was 25. So the fact that I'm doing it for 2025 is no coincidence. It's because of his stock car number, and I told Sally that's when I wanted to induct them. Sally actually was the one that painted 25 on his stock car years ago, and later on they stepped to the plate and bought Riverside Speedway and turned it into a world-class quarter-mile short track speedway. So I'm going to read this, if I can get through it. Mike and Sally Beattie, inducted into the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame as promoters 2025. In 1962, when Mike was an 18-year-old mechanic at Timberland Machines Incorporated, he and Bob Clark would sneak back after hours to uncrate a new Skidoo, take it for a ride, then clean it off and put it back in the crate. This was the beginning of a lifelong involvement with a snowmobile. Now, they worked for Bob Bottoms. He was their boss at the time, and of course he became president of Timberland Machines later. And Bob Bottoms was a very shrewd businessman. And he probably knew about this little endeavor that Clark and Beattie had going. But he didn't say anything, and the reason he didn't say anything was because he was getting these sleds all set up for nothing. So, in August of 1964, both Mike and his wife Sally, along with about 40 others, attended a meeting to vote on and eventually pass what would become the oldest snowmobile club in America, the Lancaster Snowdrifters. Mike soon became heavily involved with the Lancaster Grand Prix, and Sally was right by his side. As Mike was a multi-time race chairman, Sally was always there behind the scenes, working the driver's admission booth or as a lap counter during racing, or working the food concession, etc. They were a team. Absolutely a team. The Beattie sold Scarules from 1967 to 1970 until the distributor failed to keep their promise of Mike getting the first 1971 factory race sled received from the factory. Actually, I think it went to a bigger dealer with a little extra money involved, as I remember at the time. Beattie was then rehired by Timberland Machines Incorporated to work as the chief mechanic of Big T Racing. Through his experience in stock car racing and the use of racing fuel, Mike was one of the first to develop a Tillotson carburetor that could run on methanol alcohol fuel, boosting the horsepower to their Rotex engines well beyond the factory's own dyno tests. Bombardier immediately had Mike, along with Bob Fortin, drive to Valcourt, Quebec to teach this at their race school. During the years after the Grand Prix ended in 1977, Mike and Sally worked tirelessly promoting the Snowdrifters. While Mike helped maintain the oldest snowmobile trails in New England, Sally was secretary and treasurer. Sally stayed involved with the club for many years after Mike's passing in 2012. Just before Mike's death, his son Shane asked what he thought of having a 2014 50th Grand Prix reunion. Mike said, "We did it once, we can do it again." Mike had it in his mind that he was going to help. On February 1st, 2014, Chairman Shane Beattie led the first group of race sleds onto the beautiful 1/3 mile ice oval for the 50th Grand Prix reunion. Sally was also there every day working. In 2016, Mike and Sally Beattie were honored with the Grand Prix Pioneer Award for their contributions to the sport of snowmobile racing. This is a great honor, and for me to do this, and Sally Beattie and Shane, would you please come up here?
Thank you, Midge. There was a reason that I had Midge do this. Midge was actually the one behind all of this, getting my father and mother into the Hall of Fame. I just want to thank you very much, Midge. I want to thank the Eastern Snowmobile Hall of Fame and all the directors for recognizing the work that my parents have done, and also on behalf of the Beattie family, thank you very much.
So there we have it. The Beatties inducted into the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame 2025. Mike, reaction to that?
Very much well deserved. I love the bit about taking the sleds out of the crate and then putting them back in. That's priceless.
For sure. And that is one of the best things about these ceremonies. You hear some amazing stories like that.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah.
But go ahead, Midge.
Well, Mike and Bob kind of swapped chairman duties for the Grand Prix there for the first, half dozen Grand Prix. And one year, Timberland Machines racing team was practicing on that 26-mile cross-country course almost every day. And Bob got wind of it. So he told Mike, he says, after work, he says, we got to go out and change that course. He said, we can't just give that cross-country race to the Timberland Machines. He said, that's unfair. He said, other people coming, they have to, that course is blind to them, But so anyway, he and Bob Clark went out right after they got done work, and they traveled the whole entire 26-mile cross-country course and changed it.
Wow.
Yeah, they moved the flags,
field, so
they changed it around, and they didn't get back home until the wee hours of the morning. I could just imagine the look on the Timberland guy's face when they, got on that course and expected to be there when it was really over here.
Where they used to zig, now they have to zag.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, that's one of the little stories that happened back then. So
yes. And Rob?
It's great doing announcing there. I don't know how people get up and speak in front of people like that. I'm not good at it, but I like the stories that go along with it. That's what makes the history of the snowmobile. These stories about people taking their boss's machines out for a ride.
For sure.
Yeah.
And before we close this segment, I want to find just the right shot here, because if I can do this, all right, here we go. Here's a who's who of the vintage of people in the vintage snowmobile racing community, and also some good friends of ours. So on the left there with the hat with the red brim, blue hat, red brim, that's our good friend Russ Swenton. He's the historian for the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame. And then the guy with the microphone, I can't think of his name. Anybody know who he is?
Most famous person on this show.
Yes, that's our good friend Midge, who's the founder of the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame. And then just to his right is our good friend Paul Crane, Crane Snowmobile Museum, also the first American to ride a Ski-Doo snowmobile in the U.S. or Canada. And then the host of the event is the woman with the white jacket on. That's his daughter, Melissa. And then not to be forgotten is our good friend on the far right there with the blue overshirt. That's our good friend Ed Stab, one of the top promoters of vintage snowmobiling of all time.
And Ed was inducted into the Hall of Fame as well.
Yes, 2019 maybe, or 18?
I think so, 18 or 19.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then as we pan across here, this is a who's who as well. We've got Tim Bender in the front there and Wayne Nicholson.
Yeah, Tim Bender.
And in the back, we've got Paul Lamontagne. Ron Hall, I think, is back there.
Yeah.
Who else have we got? Herbie Yancey's back there.
Herbie Yancey.
And Jeff Duflo.
He raced.
Yes, and the Poulin family. It's literally a who's who under that tent right there of Eastern racing.
Jeff Duflo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, let me pull this down. And of course, this induction ceremony happens at Crane's Snowmobile Museum. And my mentioning that is not a coincidence. It's a segue into our next segment. First Saturday of every February, Paul Crane does a vintage snowmobile show at the museum, 172 Main Street, Lancaster, New Hampshire. We're going to take a look at some sights and sounds from that event. And one thing I have to mention is there's an elderly gentleman named Walt Selly. He goes to all of these events. He likes not the vintage stuff, but the antique stuff. And he usually goes with 3 or 4 generations of his family there, and they all own and collect and restore sleds, and I've always wanted to catch up with him for an interview. And at the last crane show earlier this year, I managed to catch him for an interview. So we'll have a chance to look at that. Memories you have of how you got into snowmobiling back in the earliest memories?
My older brother bought a 67 Panther back years ago, and his brother-in-law bought a 68. So I had one about 59. That's the first machine I had. And I've been into the old ones, the 66 100, Model 100 that was missing the engine. I went down to see a friend in Chelsea and back through and kind of like what's that old red machine sitting there beside the road. So the man wasn't there, but I offered his wife $50 for it and loaded that in the truck.
Wow.
So that's how I got started, I guess.
That's what started it?
Yeah.
Be nice to see those prices again, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But go ahead, please continue. Yeah.
My next youngest son was 13, I guess, at the time, and he's late 40s now. But we used to go out and pick up sleds to give them to us,
Yeah.
The early Panthers and different sleds. And so he pretty well stayed with it. He's got quite a collection now.
Nice.
And kind of stuck with it. Got 2 or 3 of my boys, my sons, and doing it. My grandson. He's standing at the Kawasaki here.
Wow. So how many generations of your family are into snowmobiling now?
3, I guess.
3 generations.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. We have a good time.
Yes.
We ride them. We don't just
You use them? That's nice.
look at them. We ride them.
Nice. Yeah, and it's true. I've met up with the boys many times at the vintage shows over the years, and they're always happy to talk up their sleds. And I've always wanted to spend a few minutes to you to hear where the story all started.
Well, not a lot to that story, but
Sure.
I made the toe behind there. I made that out of scrap metal.
Wow, yeah, that's amazing, that toe behind.
And for the front circumference, I got an old Model T wheel with wooden spokes.
Yeah.
Same circumference as the front, so that's what I leave a half-inch bigger and pin it down around that forward wheel, and it's mainly made out of scrap metal. Bumper on the back is 68 Panther T, 2 of them welded together. The handlebar front is 63 Model 100 cat. And just parts and pieces put together.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, that's cool to see that going by.
It rides real good.
Yeah.
He's along now, so
Pretty smooth ride?
yeah, it's pretty good.
Nice. Well, great. Anything else we haven't talked about, or anything else you wanted to say? Or?
That's probably it. I don't know.
Okay. Well, great. Well, I appreciate it, Walt. It was really good to meet you.
Thank you.
All right.
Bollier, and this is Damian Bollier, and my father Richie Bollier is around here somewhere, and we have 3 generations that really enjoy old Arctic Cat. I bought out an old dealer a while ago and started Timeless Cat, where we buy and sell parts and do fix-up restorations or find stuff that's, unrestored, and basically love antique shows and keeping it going with the next generation. Yeah, so basically just enjoy going around with my son. My daughters get involved a little too cold for them today, but we've gone around and we've done some trading and buying and selling, and we've accumulated quite some gear. This is probably about half of what I have, maybe a little less. But yeah, it's been fun, and obviously bring it to the next generation. I say the highlight of their time is probably riding in the cat gun, right? When they pulls you around in the sled, what do you think? Really cool? And just keeping this stuff alive. I mean, it's all older than me. Everything here, all the gear, all of it. So
I love all this cat gear. Can we talk through some of that, or can I go up close and talk it up?
These are just 1970s boots. We got some late 70s, mid 70s, early 70s hats. We did purple power lube. They made some really cool survival kits back in the day that went with your sled. That's pretty cool. Old directions and everything with it. These were actually given out to the racers back in the day. These were sweaters. I forget what year, probably mid to late 70s. So there's different sweaters that some of the racers might potentially
Wow.
Yep. We can ride that one too. Do you want to show them some of the clothes? No? These obviously helmet bag. Got the old rotary lube.
New old stock belts.
Different makes all over, made different gear. So
Oh, wow.
pretty unique that people.
I remember all that stuff.
Right? Get excited.
That's amazing. And you're right. That makes my heart go pitter-patter seeing all that stuff from the 70s.
And to be honest with you, some of it, like even that, so I'll show you a sweater on the other side, but that box probably got me just as excited as seeing the sweater.
Yeah, with the graphics.
To find the old box and the original box and everything. These are more late 70s.
Sure.
Nice jackets with the buckles. I got some full-piece suits. I try not to double up just so it shows people a variety of stuff. But this is that sweater that came in that box.
Wow, nice.
They were made more for the ladies to be a little more casual, but it is Arctic wear.
Yeah.
And then obviously my pride and joy is over here inside this.
Let me come around.
Right?
Oh, here we go. Oh, yes. You don't see those very often.
The Icelandic gear. This is sort of my pride and joy.
That is amazing.
Kind of what started the vintage clothes collection. I was helping someone who father-in-law had a bunch of stuff and unfortunately passed away, so he was trying to help sort stuff out and stuff I wasn't interested in. I was like, oh, you should reach out to the more man people, do this, do that. And it turned out that he had some cool stuff, so I ended up with that jacket. And then it took off from there and got into all the other gear. So it was really sleds and buying out an old dealer to fix sleds, and then that jacket took off for the more of the gear and stuff. And then I found, matching mittens again.
Whoa.
Very hard to find. There's boots, there's all sorts of stuff. People have some cool stuff. I guarantee some people here have stuff like this at home.
Definitely, yeah.
But it's cool. You bring it out, and then some of them don't even think to bring it. So they'll see it, and next time they'll bring it out. It'll be cool. So yeah, that's pretty much.
And it's true, none of the other manufacturers did clothing at the level Cat did.
No,
Cat did everything.
Yeah, and I have posters and all sorts of stuff from back in the day that how they advertised it too. It was cool. And then the toy aspect, I have 1970s battery toys and E-lights play. It's cool.
Nice.
So yeah, they definitely knew how to capture the whole audience and the family aspect. Which obviously, if we want the sport to go on, family's the big part of it. So it's cool to be able to reshare that.
That's amazing. It's a great legacy for him too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because if he can get excited about this, that's the future of it,
100%.
Yeah.
Okay, we got other kids here, the parents,
Yeah.
walk around and check it out, and maybe they'll even come out next year with some of their stuff, So
Totally.
It's good.
Yeah, good times at Crane Snowmobile Show.
Yeah.
That's the first Saturday of every February. So if you're in or near Lancaster at that time, that's a show you do not want to miss. Reactions, Rob?
He's starting that three-cylinder Arctic Cat with just a wrap-around rope. They have a lot of compression.
Yes.
But I like the guy's collection. Arctic Cat did have the most of the most out there.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, a lot of good memories of that.
You don't very
Go ahead,
often
Mitch.
see anybody bring a whole clothes rack to a vintage show, but that guy did.
Yeah. Yeah, that was nice to see all that stuff.
Yeah, that was cool. I mean, you might see that in a museum, but not out, not outside at a snowmobile show.
No doubt.
That was pretty cool.
Yes. And Mike?
Yeah, very cool. Getting to see more and more of the clothing collectors. It's kind of getting to be a thing, especially, with Arctic Cat. I can't believe the variety of stuff they put out in the 70s.
Oh, I did.
I mean, I'm constantly running across ones I've never seen before.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And yeah, they had
Cat
everything from shot glasses to cufflinks to lighters, and just about anything you could think of, you could put a cat logo on. They had.
Yeah.
And a few years ago, we had Robert Palmer on here. He's probably the biggest collector of Arctic clothing and memorabilia. And we went on for over an hour just looking at everything he's got. And we didn't even cover all of it. In fact, got to see about maybe getting him on again sometime. But yeah, and Mike, did you have anything to add to this? Or?
Just really nice machines. Really nice to see, good turnout, lots of people enjoying themselves and things like that. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And personally, I was very excited to catch up with Walt Sally. I've known him for quite a few years as well as his sons, but it's never occurred to me to try to catch him for an interview. And I was glad I caught him. Yeah, because between him and his sons and grandsons, they own dozens of antique sleds, and it was nice to catch up with them and hear the origin story. And then there was a guy there he had probably like a 3-year-old son on a kitty cat right there. I mean, see, it's hard to stop this. This thing is really sensitive, so it's hard to stop it where I want to. But you probably saw he's like a 3-year-old going by on a kitty cat.
Yeah, that was fun.
I'm having a hard time finding it now, but anyway, that's always cool to see. And I want to get him on, not the 3-year-old, but his father. Want to get him on the podcast sometime. He collects vintage Polarises. He's got a serious collection. Brendan,
bring the 3-year-old. He'll tell us some stories.
Yes, got to get him on. Okay, so we have one more video clip to look at. There's a really good vintage snowmobile show in Newport Ctr, Vermont, which is just 10 miles from here. It's not a big show, but it's a quality show. A lot of really serious collectors show up. And what it lacks in size, it more than makes up for in good vibrations. And at the end of each show, they do a ride. So what I've got here is a video clip of them all going by me on their ride. So here it is. Yeah, right here. Let's take a look. Yes, look at that. So, yeah, that is the Newport Ctr, Vermont Vintage Snowmobile Show. That happens the last Saturday of January every year. They just had their 4th annual, getting ready for their 5th annual. That's put on by the Ctr family and the Country Riders Snowmobile Club. Excellent, excellent show. If you're ever in the area, please check it out. It's right off Route 100 onto Ctr Road, and it's on the right a couple miles down. You can't miss it. But reactions to that, Mike?
I don't know if you caught this, but for the person who was asking earlier about that cross-country cat and if it was stock or not, one of them crossed the road that did have the original suspension in it in this video. So if he was curious as to what they originally looked like, there you have it. Also, it was neat to see that snow bug in the background. They're kind of a trippy machine.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. And if you look up Newport Ctr, Vermont Vintage Snowmobile Show 2025, there is some footage of that cross-country cat you're talking about that crossed the road. We do take a closer look at that. Glad you caught that, by the way. And Midge?
Yeah, I hope we have some snow this winter. It's you look at that and it's still pretty sparse. They probably didn't have more than 6 inches of snow there.
Yeah, it's pretty thin.
Boy, when I was a kid, it wasn't how much snow you're going to get; it's where you're going to put it.
Yeah.
But hopefully we have a good year this year.
I hope so. It's true. In the early 70s, we used to get buried.
Oh, buried.
Yes. And Rob?
You were standing at the perfect spot right there, Mike, where some of them weren't going to make that little hill.
Yes.
It's a good place to get a view of all of them going by.
Yeah.
I'd like it when the people take their machines out for a ride instead of just having them in a museum. Get them out, watch people driving by, and I'm surprised there was only one guy seen had a helmet on.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's one sled I got to show you. It's if I can stop on it. This thing's right there. That Yamaha. That's a modern Yamaha done up as a in the color scheme of I think an SRX from the late 70s.
Oh,
and
cool.
That's Larry Tatro's sled. He's the brother of the people who put this on, and that's got all kind of aftermarket go fast goodies on it. Close to 300 horsepower. It's a screamer of a sled, and it looks amazing too with those graphics in the late 70s.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. And you see all these John Deeres at this show. The Tatro family in the 70s owned a John Deere dealership on this property where they have this show.
Cool.
And that's a lot of the Tatros going by on those not modern cats, but like 90s cats, the F7s and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's probably Robert Tatro. Yeah, that's Robert Tatro right there. It's his property. He and his wife put that on.
Yeah.
And his wife just happens to be close friends with my girlfriend. Just funny how it's a small world,
Yeah, isn't it? Yeah. Pretty neat.
Cool. So let me pull this away. We've got a few comments, and then we're going to close this show out. But, Eric from the Benedim YouTube channel says, I saw that. Very cool. So I'm not sure exactly which, but there's a lot there to see. And people saying, great show. See you next week. And we appreciate everyone who's made comments here. We had some fresh faces in this comment section tonight, which was really nice to see. We thank our viewers so very much. Very well attended tonight. We appreciate that. So we're going to go clockwise around the room for quick last comments. Mike, final comment?
Just want to remind everyone that Saturday is Snowmobile Day. And a quick shout out to my friend Bryce McNeely and the New Lisbon Winter Wanderers, who are having a terrific show on Saturday in New Lisbon, Wisconsin. So any of you folks from Wisconsin and eastern Minnesota, you may want to check that out.
Nice. And then we'll give one more shameless plug for your subscription drive.
Sure.
Great time for
right before the end of December, and you get entered to possibly win one of 3 hoodies. So got that going for you, which is nice.
Yes. And that's this magazine, the Vintage Snowmobile Club of America quarterly magazine, is the reference for this hobby. And Oh, I think we just lost Rob. I think because I think he was having a problem with his connection. But yeah, Midge, final comments?
Yeah, that Vintage Snowmobile Club of America magazine is the best. I recommend it to anybody. I've had it for years. I read it from cover to cover every year, every issue. And if you have a vintage sled, use AMSOIL.
Yes.
I'm back.
Definitely. Speaking of AMSOIL, Rob, yes, final comments, Rob.
Good show. I like the variety of different snowmobiles we have on there, and the people that have the clothing and options stuff to go with their snowmobiles. It's just not a plain Jane show. Good job,
No.
Mike.
Cool deal. Yes, and next week we've got Bud Gordon on here. He's going to talk about the fundraiser they're doing to save the New Hampshire Snowmobile Museum. It's currently at Bear Brook State Park, and they've got a building that's not in good shape, and everything has to be out of that building by the time the snow flies this winter. So they're under pressure to get everything out of there and trying to figure out a place for it. So they've got a fundraiser going on, and they are good friends of ours, and it's also an extremely worthy cause. So we're going to have Bud on next week. We're going to look at clips from the museum from over the years and some of the shows he puts on. He's one of the top promoters in the East, Bud Gordon is. So with that, we're going to close it out, and thank you everyone for viewing, and for Mike, for Midge, and for Rob for being on here with us. And as always, we give the last word to AMSOIL.
Night, everybody.
See you next week.
See you all next week. Hello, everyone. This is Rob and Mike. How you doing today, Rob?
I'm doing good. Mike, yourself?
Very well. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. Now, today, we're going to be talking about AMSOIL. And in a few moments, we're going to show you how you can get the deepest discounts, free shipping, and free gifts when you order your AMSOIL products through us. But first, I'm going to ask Rob to give you a quick description of what AMSOIL is and why you should consider using AMSOIL products in your motorized vehicles.
Thanks, Mike. AMSOIL is 100% synthetic oil. Everybody uses AMSOIL for a different reason. Some people like the benefits that AMSOIL is warranted for 25,000 miles or 1 year. The reason we can do that is because AMSOIL doesn't oxidize. It doesn't form the usual carbons, gums, sludges like petroleum oils do. That's why we can keep it in the engines longer. Petroleum oils never do wear out. They oxidize themselves. That's why they have to be changed at 3,000 kilometers. And AMSOIL likes the benefit that you only have to change the oil once a year. That saves some money. Some of the people like the benefit of AMSOIL is it's a slipperier type lube. By having a slipperier type lube, it cuts down friction and drag. By less friction and drag, engines run 20 to 50 degrees cooler, better gas mileage. Now, AMSOIL says 25% more protection than the industry requires is in the AMSOIL bottles. My average customer gets about 10% increase in gas mileage. That's a big savings.
Yeah.
And by cutting down friction and drag, for every 10 degrees you cut down the friction and drag, doubles the life of the engine. So by having the engine run cooler, it makes it last longer. Some people like the benefit of the range of the AMSOIL. AMSOIL's flash point is 425 degrees, and it pours at 50 below zero. Wow. If you ever try petroleum oil when it's 10 below, it turns to honey. And in the summertime, petroleum oil thins out, and once it thins out, that's when it starts breaking down. So AMSOIL is an all-season oil, can give you better gas mileage, longer engine life, less maintenance. It ends up being cheaper over a year's time running AMSOIL than it is petroleum oils.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And AMSOIL is available for pretty much any motorized vehicle, anything from lawn equipment, cars, trucks, boats, ATVs, motorcycles, snowmobiles.
Yep. And a lot of people phone me up and say, well, what's the benefit of our gear lube? Exactly what I told you about the engine oil. It pours in cold weather, it runs cooler, makes the equipment last longer. And they say, well, what's the benefit of the small engine? Same thing. Makes the engine run cooler, last longer, better performance. So it saves on all the applications that AMSOIL has available.
Wonderful, wonderful. So yeah, let's talk now. Hopefully this has convinced people to think about maybe joining us in the AMSOIL experience. Let's talk about some of the discounts and free shipping and how that all happens. I'm going to pop a graphic on the screen. And yeah, by all means, if you want to talk people through how this preferred customer program works.
AMSOIL has a number of different programs. One of our main ones is a catalog customer, where somebody can order directly out of our catalog. If they order out of the catalog, they order $100 worth, AMSOIL will ship it right to their house. But our best program is our preferred customer. For only $10 for 6 months, you become a preferred customer, you save 25% on all the product. You order $100 worth, they're going to give you free shipping. You don't have to order a whole case. You can mix and match. Say you want 4 bottles of small engine, 7 bottles of 5W30, and a couple of gear loops. You can mix and match. You can order 1 bottle at a time if you want. There's no minimums, no maximums. By being a preferred customer, you save over 25% on all the products you're going to buy. AMSOIL sends you extra gifts, $5 gift certificate on your birthday, $5 when you renew your account, and stuff like that. So it's a good way to save on some of the products you want to buy.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, it's an incredible value, and this is the deepest level of discount that anyone can get when ordering AMSOIL. Is that correct?
It is. It is.
Wonderful, wonderful. So let's take people through the step-by-step experience of placing an AMSOIL order. Then that would include signing up for the preferred customer discount, or sorry, preferred customer program, so they can receive those deepest levels of discount. So let's go to the website. This is what the website's going to look like. These are some screenshots. Once you go to amsoil.com, there's a link in the description, or you can just type that into a browser, amsoil.com. This is the page you land on. At the upper corner of the page there, you see how I've circled in red. That is the link to click, the Join Now link. That will take you to the preferred customer program page, where you can take advantage of all these discounts and free shipping and everything that we've just been talking about. This is what that page looks like. In the lower right, you're going to click Join Now. This will pop up. You select the duration you'd like, whether it's 6 months or 12 months, and click Add to Cart. Now, once this pop-up goes away, you'll be back on the main page. And the upper left, you'll see where I've got that red arrow. It says Shop. Now you can start shopping for products, and on your very first order, you're going to get these discounts and the free shipping as long as it's over $100. You'll get all of these benefits right away. So once you click Shop, it's going to take you to the product page. There's different types of oils, lubricants, so on and so forth. For the benefit of this exercise we're doing now, I'm just going to click motor oil. It shows different types of motor oil. Let's click gasoline. Now this takes us to an item. It's their synthetic motor oil. And you can see the item there, and there's choices for different viscosities. But take a look at the price. Let's take a closer look. Let's zoom in. But if you've joined the preferred customer program first, you're going to automatically get the deepest levels of discount. That's what we're looking at here. You're saving $3.80 on that quart of oil. Instead of paying $16.29, you're now paying $12.49 for that quart of oil. That is the deepest level of discount you can possibly get. And then you just add the quantity that you'd like. You select any other items that you're thinking about, add them to the cart. And once you click Add to Cart for the final time, you're going to see this come up at the top of the screen. It's going to show your items and your the total that you're at so far. Pardon me. And then you just click View Cart in the upper right, and that'll take you to your cart. Take a close look here at the upper right. That blue box shows that you're getting free shipping. You're eligible for free shipping on this order because it's over $100. That little yellow box shows that you've got the preferred customer membership on your order. That gives you the deepest levels of discounts for the next 6 to 12 months. And then below that, you've got the items that have been selected. For the exercise here, I selected 9 quarts of the signature series, but that brings us up over $100 for the free shipping. We're saving $34.20. And if you're ready to finish, you click Checkout Now, and that takes you to this screen here. If you haven't signed up with an AMSOIL account at this point, just click in the lower right to create an account, create a new account. It's going to ask you for some basic information, name and those types of things. Now let's take a closer look. You'll see this gray shaded box. This is a very important box. This is going to ask you if someone has referred you to AMSOIL. And if so, please enter my name. My name is Mike Kohn. It's spelled right there on the screen for the correct spelling. And also the referral number, 304-555-94. That's how you make sure that Rob and I get credit for this. Now, in the interest of full disclosure, I have signed up for AMSOIL under Rob. So when you order using this referral number, Rob and I both benefit. So if you enjoy these podcasts that we're doing, this is a wonderful way to support the podcast, because when you order using this referral number, Rob and I both benefit, and the commissions I make go directly toward offsetting the cost of doing these podcasts. So I thank you in advance for using my referral number. I very much appreciate it. And once you've done that, you just go into the next screen to enter your payment information, and you're done. Now, once you've placed your order that's over $100, and that order includes your AMSOIL preferred customer program, you are now eligible to get a free DVD from myself. Now, this is going to be either a muscle car DVD or a vintage snowmobile DVD. Use the email address on the screen, wkspodcasts@gmail.com. Send me an email. Let me know which DVD you would like me to send you, the muscle car or the vintage snowmobile DVD, and I'll get that right out to you. As you're typing in that email, in the subject line, be sure and type in capital letters "free DVD requests" so it stands out as I'm checking my email, and we'll get that right out to you. So I guess the last thing, Rob, that we wanted to talk about is if someone is considering AMSOIL as a business opportunity.
Yes. If anybody has a retail or a commercial account and they would like to buy directly from AMSOIL, just send Mike a line. He'll show you how to set up, and you can buy directly from AMSOIL. But if you are interested in starting your own part-time business, a part-time business that can grow into a full-time income, Mike and I will show you the AMSOIL marketing plan. AMSOIL has a large selection of products that cover almost every application. So it doesn't matter if you're into snowmobile, boating, or ATVing, or hot rods. We have an oil for every application. It's a fun type business that's I really enjoy doing. Where else can I go and have fun and make money doing it? And Mike and I are here to help you all the way along. If you need any help on how to promote or to find new accounts, we're here to help you.
For sure. So when you sign up under that number, this 304-555-94, you're getting Rob and I as a team. Now, Rob has been doing AMSOIL for 40 years. Can you believe that? 40 years. So he knows every aspect of this business, and he knows all of the ins and outs of the products. So he'll be able to help you with any kind of product questions or any kind of questions to show you the different business models that you can do with AMSOIL. And then the other thing that you get when you sign up under me is I've got a strong background in social media. So if you need some coaching on how to generate AMSOIL leads using Facebook and YouTube, I'm happy to coach you with that when you sign up under Rob and I. You get both of us as a team to help you, to coach you, to support you, whatever you need to get you off and running with this business and having fun with it. Like Rob said, it's an enormous amount of fun. If you're like Rob and I and you enjoy going to any kind of boat shows, car shows, motorcycle shows, snowmobile shows, anything with a motor, you like going to those shows, those events, those races, this is a great way to turn that into a income opportunity for you.
Yes. And just by wearing my AMSOIL hat at one of these events, people come up and ask me about AMSOIL. People don't know where to buy it, and I'm there to help them, show them where they can buy the product. Perfect.
Well, cool. Well, this is great. Any final thoughts, Rob, before we wrap it up?
AMSOIL's a fun business. AMSOIL's been around since 1968. It was the first synthetic oil to be AI approved.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And that's very early in the game too, isn't it?
Yes.
For sure. Well, good. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for viewing. Hopefully, we've gotten you excited as we are about the AMSOIL products. We'd love it if you could join us either as someone who uses the AMSOIL products or to join the AMSOIL team as a business opportunity. And we thank you so much for viewing. Have a great day.
You have a good day.